George looked slowly again at the door, then at Mrs. Pearson. Then he notices the stout that Mrs. Pearson raises for another sip. His eyes almost bulge. Stout? Yes. What are you drinking stout for? Because I fancied some. At this time of day? Yes. What is wrong with it at this time of day? Nothing, I suppose any, but I have never seen you do it before. Well, you are seeing me now. With heavy distaste, he said. Yes, and I don't like it. It doesn't look right. I'm surprised at you. Well, that ought to be a nice change for you. What do you mean? It must be some time since you were surprised at me, George. I don't like surprises. I'm all for a study going on. You ought to know that by this time. By the way, I forgot to tell you this morning, I wouldn't want any tea. Special snooker match night at the club tonight. And a bit supper going. So no tea. That's all right. There isn't. Now George is astonished. You mean you didn't get any ready? Yes, and a good thing too, as it has turned out. That is all very well, but suppose I would wanted some? My goodness, listen to the man. Annoyed because I don't get a tea for him that he doesn't even want. Ever tried that at the club? Tried what at the club? Going up to the bar and telling them that you don't want a glass of beer, but you are annoyed because they haven't already poured it out. Try that on them and see what you get. I don't know. What are you talking about? They would laugh at you even more than they do now. Now, laugh at me. George says that indignantly. Laugh at me? They don't laugh at me. Of course they do. You ought to have found that out by this time. Anybody else would have done. You are one of their standing jokes, famous. So they call you Pompey Ompy Pearson because they think you are so slow and pompous. Never. It has always beaten me why you should want to spend so much time at a place where they are always laughing at you behind your back and calling you names. So, leaving your wife at home night after night instead of going out with her who doesn't make you look a fool. Cyril enters, right, with a glass of milk in one hand and a thick slice of cake in the other. So George, almost dazed, turns to him appealingly. So George says, Here, Cyril, you have been with me to the club once or twice, so they don't laugh at me and call me Pompey Pearson, do they? Now Cyril is embarrassed, hesitates because he has to tell. Go on, tell me, do they? Now Cyril, embarrassed. Yes, well, yes, Dad, I'm afraid they do. Now George slowly looks from one to the other, staggered. George slowly says, Well, I will be damned. Now George exits from left side slowly, almost as if somebody had hit him over the head. Cyril, after watching him go, turns indignantly to Mrs. Pearson. So, no, you shouldn't have told him that, Mum. That is not fair. You have hurt his feelings. Mine too. Now, Mrs. Pearson says, sometimes it does people good to have their feelings hurt. The truth oughtn't to hurt anybody for long. If your father didn't go to the club so often, perhaps they would stop laughing at him. Cyril, humiliated. I doubt it. No, Mrs. Pearson said, possibly you do. But what I doubt is whether your opinion is worth having. So it is not worth. So, what do you know? Nothing. You spend too much time and good money at greyhound races and dirt tracks and ice shows. Now, Cyril Selkili, well, what if I do? I have got to enjoy myself somehow, haven't I? I wouldn't mind so much if you were really enjoying yourself. But are you? And where is it getting you? Hmm? Now there is a sharp hurried knocking heard off from left side. So might be for me, I will see. Now Cyril hurries out left. So in a moment he re-enters, closing the door behind him. It's that silly old bag from next door, Mrs. Fitzgerald. You don't want her here, do you? Now, Mrs. Pearson. Sharp. Certainly I do. Ask her in. And don't call her a silly old bag either. She is a very nice woman with a lot more sense than you will ever have. Now Cyril exits left. Mrs. Pearson finishes her stout, smacking her lips. Cyril re-enters from left side, ushering me showing way in. Mrs. Fitzgerald, who hesitates in the doorway. Come in, Mrs. Fitzgerald. No, Mrs. Fitzgerald moving to the left, then to center, anxiously. I just wonder if everything is all right. So now Cyril, sulkily, no, it isn't. Now Mrs. Pearson, of course it is. You, be quiet. Now Cyril, indignantly and loudly, why should I be quiet? Now Mrs. Pearson shouting, because I tell you to. You silly, spoiled young pycan. These are abusive words. Mrs. Fitzgerald protests, oh no, surely. Mrs. Pearson, now Mrs. Fitzgerald, just let me manage my family in my own way, please. Yes, but Cyril. Now she addresses Cyril in normal way as Mrs. Pearson does. But actually she is Mrs. Fitzgerald. So he objects. So Cyril, sulkily and gloweringly, he says, so Mr. Cyril Pearson to you, please, Mrs. Fitzgerald. So Cyril stalks off into the kitchen. Then he goes. So Mrs. Fitzgerald moving to the settee, whispering, oh dear, what is happening? Nothing much, just putting them in their places. That's all, doing what you ought to have done long since. So is George home? Mrs. Fitzgerald asks. She sits beside Mrs. Pearson on the settee. Yes, I have been telling him what they think of him at the club. Well, they think a lot of him, don't they? No, they don't. And now he knows it. Oh dear, I wish you hadn't, Mrs. Fitzgerald. Nonsense. Doing them all a world of good. And they will be eating out of your hand soon, you will see. I don't think I want them eating out of my hand. Well, whatever you want, they will be doing it. All three of them. Mark my words, Mrs. Pearson. Now George enters from left glum. He is unpleasantly surprised when he sees a visitor. He moves to the armchair left, sits down heavily and glumly lights his pipe. Then he looks from Mrs. Pearson to Mrs. Fitzgerald, who is regarding him anxiously. Just looked in for a minute, I suppose, Mrs. Fitzgerald? Who doesn't know what she's saying? Well, yes, I suppose so, George. Again, she speaks in that fluttering way. George? Oh, I'm sorry. So what does it matter? Your name is George, isn't it? Who do you think you are? Duke of Edinburgh? No, actually, Mrs. Fitzgerald is Mrs. Pearson. So she speaks in that way. So now George became angry. So what is he got to do with it? Why you are taking name of Duke of Edinburgh here? Just tell me that. And isn't it bad enough without her calling me George? Naughty Pompey Pearson. And poor Doris has been crying for something. Her eyes out upstairs. Yes, crying her eyes out. No, Mrs. Fitzgerald, feeling, oh dear, I ought to have known. Now, George, again, you ought to have known. So why ought you to have known? Nothing to do with you, Mrs. Fitzgerald. Look, we are at sixes and sevens. Means we are a little disturbed here. So just now, so perhaps you will excuse us. Means he is asking to leave. So, Mrs. Pearson, before Mrs. Fitzgerald can reply, so I won't excuse you, George Pearson. Next time a friend and neighbor comes to see me, just say something when you see her. Good evening, or how do you do, or something. And don't just march in and sit down without a word. It's bad manners. No, it's all right. No, it isn't all right. We will have some decent manners in this house, or I will know the reason why. Well, well, what? So why don't you get off to your club? Special night tonight, isn't it? So they will be waiting for you, wanting to have a good laugh. Go on then. Don't disappoint them. So George, that is right. Make me look silly in front of her now. Go on, don't mind me. Sixes and sevens. Poor Doris been crying her eyes out. So getting the neighbors in to see fun, suddenly losing his temper, glaring at Mrs. Pearson and shouting. So all right, let her hear it. So what is the matter with you? So have you gone balmy or what? So now Mrs. Pearson jumping up savagely. If you shout at me again like that, George Pearson, I will slap your big fat silly face. Mrs. Fitzgerald, oh no, 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 please, Mrs. Fitzgerald. Actually, Mrs. Pearson is stopping. So that's why she has spoken Mrs. Fitzgerald. So, no, again, George staring bewildered. Either I am off my chumps or you two are. How do you mean? No, no, please, Mrs. Fitzgerald. Look, you are Mrs. Fitzgerald. So why are you letting yourself to stop when you are not doing anything? Tell her to stop. Then there will be some sense in it. Staring at Mrs. Pearson. I think you must be tiddly. Means under the influence of alcohol. So Mrs. Pearson. Say that again. George Pearson? No. All right, all right, all right. Now Doris enters from left side slowly, looking miserable. She is still wearing the wrap. Mrs. Pearson sits on the settee. So Mrs. Fitzgerald, hello Doris dear. To Doris, hello Mrs. Fitzgerald. Mrs. Fitzgerald says, I thought you were going out with Charlie Spence tonight. What is that to do with you? Stop that. No, it is all right. Now, Mrs. Pearson, severely, so it isn't all right. I won't have a daughter of mine talking to anybody like that. Now, answer, Mrs. Fitzgerald, properly, Doris, or go upstairs again. Doris looks wonderingly at her father. Don't look at me. I give it up. I just give it up. So, Mrs. Pearson again, fiercely. Well, answer her. So I was going out with Charlie Spence tonight, but now I have called it off. Oh, what a pity, dear. Why have you? So now Doris with a flash of temper. Because if you want to know, my mother has been going on at me, making me feel miserable and saying he has got bhakti and is half-witted. So now Mrs. Fitzgerald, rather bold, to Mrs. Pearson. Oh, you shouldn't have said that. Now, Mrs. Pearson. Mrs. Fitzgerald, I will manage my family. You manage yours. Now, George. Picking her off now, are you, Annie? Now, Mrs. Pearson, even more grimly. They are waiting for you at the club, George. Don't forget. And don't you start crying again, Doris. Now, Mrs. Fitzgerald getting up with sudden decision. That's enough. Quite enough. So Doris and George stare at her bewildered. So to George and Doris. Now listen, you two. I want to have a private little talk with Mrs. Fitz. She was about to say Fitzgerald, but now she corrects. And with Mrs. Pearson. So I will be obliged if you will leave us alone for a few minutes. So I will let you know when we have finished. Go on, please. I promise you that you won't regret it. So there is something here that only I can deal with. George rising. I'm glad somebody can because I can't. Come on, Doris. Doris and George exit left. As they go, Mrs. Fitzgerald moves to left of the small table and says, she eagerly beckons, calls Mrs. Pearson to do same thing. So Mrs. Fitzgerald says, Mrs. Fitzgerald, we must change back now. We really must. So now Mrs. Pearson, why? Because this has gone far enough. I can see they are all miserable and I can't bear it. Bit more of the same would do them good. Making a great difference already. She moves to the right of the table and says, no, I can't stand any more of it. I really can't. We must change back. Hurry up, please, Mrs. Fitzgerald. Well, if you insist, yes, I do. Please, please. Now she stretches her hands across the table eagerly. Mrs. Pearson takes them. Now, Mrs. Pearson, quiet now, relax. So Mrs. Pearson and Mrs. Fitzgerald stare at each other, muttering exactly as before. Arshita dam, arshita lam, arshita lam dam. So they carry out the same action as before, going lags and then coming to life. But this time, of course, they become their proper personalities. Mrs. Fitzgerald, well, I enjoyed that. I didn't. Well, you ought to have done. Now listen. Now, Mrs. Pearson, don't go soft on them again. Else, it will all have been wasted. I will try not to, Mrs. Fitzgerald. So they have not had as long as I would like to have given them. Another hour or two's rough treatment might have made it certain. I'm sure they will do better now, though. I don't know how I am going to explain. Don't you start any explaining or apologizing, or you are done for. So it's all right for you, Mrs. Fitzgerald. After all, they aren't your husband and children. So, Mrs. Fitzgerald, impressively, so now you listen to me. You admitted yourself you were spoiling them and they didn't appreciate you. Any apologies, any explanations, and you will be straight back where you were. I'm warning you, dear. Just give them a look, a tone of voice now and again to suggest you might be tough with them if you wanted to be, and it ought to work. Anyhow, you can test it. How? Well, what is it you would like them to do they don't do? Stop at home for once. Yes. And give me a hand with supper. They don't help me either. Anything you would like them to do that you enjoy whether they do or not. Well, yes, I like a nice game of rummy, but of course, I hardly ever have one except at Christmas. Now, Mrs. Fitzgerald getting up, so that will do that. So she moves towards the door, left then turns. But remember, keep firm, or you have had it. She opens the door, calling her. You can come in now. So coming way from the door and moving right slightly quietly. But remember, a firm hand. Now George, Doris and Cyril file in through the doorway, looking apprehensively at Mrs. Pearson. I'm just off to let you enjoy yourself. The family looks anxiously at Mrs. Pearson, who smiles, much relieved. They smile back at her. Yes, mother. Seeing that you don't want to go out, I will tell you what I thought we would do. Now, Mrs. Fitzgerald giving a final warning. Remember, nodding, then looking sharply at the family. No objections, I hope? No, mother, whatsoever you say. So I thought we would have a nice family game of rummy, and then you children could get the supper ready while I have a talk with your father. Now, George suits me. So he looks challengingly at the children. So what about you two? Yes, that's all right. Well, what? Speak up? Oh, I think it would be lovely. So goodbye, Mrs. Fitzgerald. Come again soon. So now, Mrs. Fitzgerald, yes, dear. Night all. Have a nice time. Mrs. Fitzgerald exits from left and the family cluster round mother as the curtain falls.